record. There we go. And we are going to go ahead and get started. So I don't know, Kathleen, do you have anything to kick us off with before I jump in here and start letting it rip?
I don't think so, except for today I received a great email from a middle school teacher about her students using Book Creator. And they have these great books and they were downloading them and adding them to their JCPS backpack. And so it made me really excited, to hear these middle school and high school students are using this as well. So I just wanted to tell you that she came to one of our previous sessions. So thanks to you and
Awesome.
exciting stuff.
I love it. Now, while we're talking good news and fun things, I was just looking at the analytics dashboard here for your district, and I can't remember exactly when our first PD was. So I'm just going to go back to like August 1st. All right. So on August 1st, your district had made about 23,000 books up until that point. Since August 1st until today, well, November 12th is the last time I have data. 30,354 books. So you have gone up almost 7,000, a little over 7,000 books in the last, since August 1st, which is fantastic. So anybody on here that's been making books with their kids, good job. Keep it going. And eventually you'll be hopefully number one or so in the world, right? That would be a good thing. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and jump in here. For those of you that don't know me or haven't been on a webinar with me yet, my name is John Smith. For real. I am the iPod teacher on Twitter. So if you are on Twitter and you want to give me a shout out, great. If you're not on Twitter or you just don't care to be on Twitter or follow me, that's fine. My wife doesn't follow me either, so it is not going to offend me if you don't. But I'm also johnsmith@bookcreator.com. So if you do have any questions or if you need anything, obviously you have a great team in your district. You can reach out to them for help at any point. But I'm also here, right, for ideas and anything like that that you might need. I taught special ed for 12 years, mostly 5th and 6th grade. And then after that, I was a technology integration specialist for 7 years, mostly at a high school. 19 years of teaching and many years of using Book Creator. Book Creator comes a calling and says, hey, come work for us. We got to make this official. And so I did. And so now I'm in my almost 6th full year as Book Creator's Senior Teacher Success Manager. So lots of webinars, lots of conferences, school visits, keynotes, basically anything that I can do to help spread the word of Book Creator and make sure that schools and districts are using their licenses. That's what I'm here for. I'm married. I've got 3 kids, 13, 9, and 6. I have to get ready to practice this because my daughter turns 10 on Wednesday, and it's going to probably take me 2 months to say 13, 10, and 6. But we're close. All right. So it's going to happen. Let's see what else. Oh, I love golf. So I don't know if there's any golfers in this group. I'm looking. Yes. All right. We got Brad. Let's see who else. Anybody else in here? Nobody else raising their hand. All right. Well, thank you, Brad. That is exactly one more golfer than I have had on my 15 last webinars. So thank you very much. Yes, I love golf. All 3 of my kids love golf. They are, we're working on my wife, right? We're trying to get her involved in this too. But my garage right now looks like a plate against sports. We have so many golf clubs and bags and carts and things like that in there. So it's crazy. But this usually gets hands raised. If you did not raise your hand for golf, does anybody have a dirty car? All right, I'm looking here in the chat. I see some head nods now. There we go. I see some smiles. They don't want to shake their head yes, but they'll smile just because, they don't want to admit it. The reason I ask that is because on a side, I'm a certified auto detailer. All right, so if you have a dirty ride and you're anywhere near the like Cleveland, Ohio area, I guess that's a close enough geographic region, come see me and I'll be more than happy to detail that dirty ride for you. All right. Well, we are going to get into this today. I am really excited because we are going to talk about Book Creator every day, right? Subside, like, using Book Creator for interactive notebooks. But truth be told, I threw a whole bunch of other stuff in here too that aren't interactive notebooks, all right? So Book Creator every day. And the reason that for me personally, I like this topic is I think a lot of times when you hear teachers and you talk to, I talk to thousands of teachers, all the time. A lot of times you'll hear teachers who will say things like, oh, I love Book Creator. We're going to use it in March for a project. And I'm like, okay, like, that's cool. It's like November. Like, what are we going to do between now and like March, like, can we use it for other things? Now, I know there's always the fear of, like overusing something, right? Like, you don't want to overuse things because then your kids will hate it too, just like they do worksheets or whatever. But can we use Book Creator more often than just like once a quarter, right? Or once a month or something like that. And again, I don't think sometimes we think about it like that. We just think about it as a cool way for kids to make, cool projects or something like that. So how can we use Book Creator every day? All right. And so today we're going to talk about everyday uses of Book Creator, and we're going to look at it through 4 different lenses tonight. All right. We're going to look at it through school every day, teachers every day, students every day, and parents every day, which might sound a little odd, right? Because there are no parent accounts with Book Creator. So how are we going to make that work? All right, so we're going to talk about those today. So first off, we're going to talk about school every day. All right, and there's going to be a lot of examples here in how to do this. Now, I guess before we get into this, I'm actually just under the assumption that we all have started using Book Creator, and that's probably a bad assumption. So before we go too much further into this, I just want to make sure that we give you a quick little review of some important things that you might need to know. All right, if you haven't used Book Creator before. And again, Kathleen, I am so sorry. Clever, ClassLink, or just Google? I can't remember.
Clever.
All right, so perfect. So we're using Clever. Fantastic. So you go into Clever, you see the Book Creator logo, you give it a click. And if you've used Book Creator before, signs you in. If you've never used Book Creator before, then it's going to ask you some questions. What do you teach? What grade level? What school are you in? And it's going to let you sign up for an account. Now, what's really awesome is that the district has got this for every teacher. So as soon as you hit that button that says sign up, then you get the full version of Book Creator, as do all of the teachers in your district. All right, so you answer those questions, you jump through the hoops, and eventually you come to this point right here, which is a library. And we're not going to get into a whole bunch of this right now because this is not a getting started session. But once you're in this library, if you click the 3 black lines at the top left, that will take you to the teacher dashboard. And this is where all of your books and libraries are going to live. You get 1,000 books each, and you get unlimited libraries. All right, so you can make libraries for every class. You can make libraries for small groups, certain projects. You can make a library for every student if you really wanted to. All right, there's a lot of awesome ways that teachers are using Book Creator, some of which we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. So I don't want to give too much away. The Discover section at the top, fantastic place to go for loads of ideas on how kids and teachers are actually using Book Creator. Again, some of which we're going to talk about. But for those of you that have never used Book Creator before, the one button at the top that says certification is going to be your best friend. The certification button is our own in-house course on Book Creator. So when you click on that button and you scroll past my really bad haircut, over here on the left-hand side, you're going to see 18 videos that will walk you through everything that Book Creator can do. Watch the videos, pass the quiz, you become a Book Creator certified author, you get a cool badge, you get a certificate of completion. All right. So
John, I have really good news. Sorry to interrupt you, but we added this to our PD, so they can get 2 hours of PD credit by becoming a Book Creator certified author. So go to Vector. We have teachers working on it right now. So I went through it myself. I'm now a certified author, and it's a great, great course. I really enjoyed it. But anyway, from last time, I got it added to our PD platform. So you can get 2 hours of PD credit by doing this. So check it out.
Oh,
We're going
that
to
is
beat that
awesome.
one school district you were talking about. I'm very competitive.
All right. So Kathleen, that is a perfect segue into what I was just about to say. So I'm really excited that you now get some PD credit for doing that, right? 2 hours. That's fantastic. So here's the other part to this. Okay. I have a school district that I should not mention, but I will. Kansas City Public Schools. They had 300 teachers do the certification in the first month that it went live 2 years ago. They are still at the top of the leaderboard. And to be completely honest with you, it makes me sick, all right, because they are not my school district. And I'm so tired of seeing them at the top of the leaderboard. All right. I know for a fact that we can beat them. Why? because I looked in your dashboard today and there are already over 1,000 teachers in your district that have Book Creator accounts. So guess what? We should be able to take care of this by the end of Thanksgiving break, right? Tell your teachers, tell your friends, colleagues, get in there, do the certification so that we can get Kansas City off that leaderboard. And if you do, I will literally drive down to your district with a trophy and we'll put it in the trophy case wherever that's at. Okay. I am that desperate to get Kansas City off that leaderboard. All right. So let's get it done so that we can be at the top of the leaderboard. And you know what I might even do? I might even bring pizza and we'll have like a pizza party or something. All right. So like, let's just take care of this. Now I did have one teacher in one of my sessions. She goes, no, not pizza. She goes, Panera. And I was like, whoa, time out. I was like, listen, I might be senior teacher success at Book Creator, but my bank account is not going to allow me to buy $10 2-ounce mac and cheeses for everybody. So I was like, that's probably not going to happen. But pizza party, we might be able to make that work. So let's get it done and we'll get Kansas City off that leaderboard. All right. So now we go back into our book here today. All right. We're going to talk about school every day because I think a lot of times when you think of Book Creator, you think of your class, right? Like, how can my kids use Book Creator? Well, they can, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But what about schools? All right. Can schools use Book Creator every day? And I said, absolutely. And so I put down some thoughts. What about a school tour? All right. What about course guides, newsletters? What about report cards? Like, hold on a second, right? So what are we talking about here? So school tours, all right? I love this example. I remember when I was a kid, I think it really hit me hard when I went to middle school. Because I remember, like, I was in my elementary for so many years, you know, and like I knew the place by the back of my hand. And then when I was going into middle school, I was scared to death because it was a huge building. There were going to be students from other parts of the district that I didn't know, a bunch of new teachers, a bunch of random stuff, right? That made me a little bit nervous. And so what if before school started, we created a little school tour book, right? Like, here's my school. Here's the teachers. Here's each of the teachers introducing themselves and saying hi. All right. Maybe that could help break the ice a little bit, make kids not so nervous. I don't know why this goes into my head, but I'm old enough to remember the Blair Witch Project. I can just imagine a principal running through the school with a GoPro or something like that, being like, here's the cafeteria, here's the auditorium, right? And it's all bouncing around like the Blair Witch Project. I mean, I can think of a lot of things that would be really cool in a school tour book. What about course guides? All right. My wife is a school counselor. And I know after working in a high school that, you know, a certain time of year, school counselor pushes out the course guides for the next year and says, what do you want to take? Right. And so all the kids are flipping through this absolutely boring, horrific course guide with nothing but text about Algebra 2 and geometry and biology and all these other courses. Could we spice up the course guides and make them a little more engaging, get the kids excited maybe more about the classes than in the past? Newsletters and then report cards. All right. And so I'm going to show you a couple of examples, all right, of what I'm talking about here today about how schools can use Book Creator. So this one is just a 9th grade orientation book. All right. And I think this is really fantastic. So the students come in from, from 8th grade, they're coming into the high school now, and they've got 9th grade. They've got some information over here about who's who, right, in the district, which is always important. And then we've got a clickable table of contents. So if you want to see the principal's message, you just click on it and it takes you there. If you want to see a map, you can see the map. If you want to see what the technology is all about at the high school, you can, or science classes or health. So you simply click on any of those and it will take you to wherever you want. All right. So we've got a principal message in here. Here's a whole blurb about the art department. You know what I love about the art department right off the bat? I love the fact that they actually have some sample artwork in there, right? Because so kids who are thinking about art might be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, I might get to make stuff like that. That's neat, right? They might be excited. Business education. We've got a fun little video in here. I don't know what that's from, but the lady reminds me of, she was in Moonlighting. I'm old enough to remember Moonlighting. So that was a show that my
It's
mom.
Legally Blonde.
What's that?
It's Legally Blonde.
Oh, is that from Legally Blonde? Oh, okay. But she's also in Moonlighting. She was the secretary, and I remember that. So anyway, Legally Blonde's a great show too. My wife, that's one of my wife's favorites. But anyway, I absolutely love how this book is laid out, right? So kids actually talking about the health department, kids talking about, the ecology department. I just think it's really neat. So schools can use Book Creator. Now, this one was definitely not on my bingo card for 2023 in ways that teachers could use Book Creator, schools could use Book Creator. This is a school district in New York that is using Book Creator for report cards for their first graders in this specific building. And so what's really cool is that these kids, they all get their own copy of this book, and they can drag little stars on top of the things that they accomplish, right? So if best self, right? Now, what does that mean? You click on the ones that you click on best self, right? And it takes you there and it tells you what you need to do to accomplish that. If the kids accomplish it, the teacher tells them, they go into the book and they get to drag a little star right on top. Now, if they haven't accomplished it, but they started to work on it, they get to drag a little neuron on top of it, saying that their brains are firing, the neurons are firing. We're just not quite there yet. And we've got more about this coming. We're going to do a webinar with this school district. We're going to talk about this, and everybody's going to be able to get a copy of this report card if they want to try to do this. But it has been fantastic for them. And the response from the parents has been overwhelmingly positive. Like, the parents love this, so much so that when the kids leave the first grade building and go to the next building, the parents are angry because their second grade teachers aren't doing this report card, right? So the whole history behind it is amazing. But I just want to show you that as another option of things that maybe a school could do in Book Creator that maybe we're not thinking about. Okay. All right. Teachers every day. All right. So again, I think a lot of times we think about kids using it, but what about teachers? I don't know about you, but I remember when I was in school, my students, when I was in the classroom, my students absolutely hated the textbooks. All right. Especially because I taught special ed, and the textbooks were written at a 6th grade level, and the kids didn't understand it and they hated it. So could I, as a teacher, make my own textbook? Could I use Book Creator as an exit slip at the end of the day, so I can see if my kids really understood what we talked about? Could I create study guides? Could I make homework agendas? Could I provide feedback on student work every day? And the answer to all of those questions is yeah, of course you can. And so I've got some really awesome examples here of how you could use Book Creator in class every day. Now, some of these examples just happen to be some of our brand new examples here at Book Creator. We recently hired a literacy specialist, and Randy is her name, and she is amazing, and she is pumping out books left and right, all right, on fluency and all kinds of things. And so these books are all in our Discover section, where you can find more information. But like, here's a book on fluency, all right? And so it's a teacher guide about fluency, and it talks about what it is. And then guess what? There's actually examples of how you can use Book Creator every day to help your students with their fluency, such as creating a book like this, where it says, here's the letter A, right? I want you to hear myself, so that you click the button.
Black cat.
All right. Oops. And now the kids have a chance to go in and record their voice reading that sentence. All right. And so in this instance, you're basically taking Book Creator and turning it into an interactive workbook of sorts for your students. But how much more powerful is this than just saying, hey, here's a sentence, or here's a word. What letter, what short vowel goes with the word cat, right? And the kid on the worksheet writes A, like, they're not hearing the sounds. They're not saying anything. It's just cat, A, hit, I. But now you can actually have the kids recording their own voices and putting those directly into the book, which I think is very powerful. All right, Cameron, if we make our own books for kids, how do we distribute that to them? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you mentioned this. All right, so here we go. Are you ready? I'm going to back out of this library for a second. That is a fantastic question. So if I'm the teacher right here in my library, here's this template book, right, that I want. And I mentioned to you earlier, guess what? You don't even have to reinvent the wheel, because look what we have got right here in the Discover section, all of these student templates, including all of the foundational literacy books. All right, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Put those books into your library, and then the kids see the book. Now, right now, what your kids have to do is they click the book button and they say copy book. Now, that might take your kids 1 or 2 times to try that before they really have that process like perfect. It's not that difficult, but they hit copy book, they choose your library, and it makes a copy right in the library that that student can edit. All right, they can't mess up your original, but they can work on this new book that they copied. However, all right, and Kathleen, this is brand new news. Are you ready for this one? Next week, all right, we have an official, well, I don't have an official date, but I have a time frame. Next week, what's going to be live is what I'm about to just show you. When you click the share button, there will be an option to assign the book. And so now as the teacher, you make this template, you click share, you click assign, and you can either give a copy to every kid, or you can click change and pick specific students who get that book. And if I just say start assignment, that's it. Any student that joins
What?
my library automatically gets a copy of that book that they can edit. And
Nice.
if,
That's amazing. And when
yeah,
does
isn't
that
that
come out
awesome?
next?
And if a
you said
new
next
student
week?
joins like in a month, they get a copy too. So this is going to be super powerful. All right. Yeah. So I'm very excited about this assignment option. All right. So great question, Cameron. All right. So back to our teacher thing. So all of these are just phonics books, vocabulary, comprehension, wonderful things. This one just came out on Twitter yesterday, or at least they retweeted it yesterday. I love this one. This teacher created a big book of math words, right? So in here, definitions, what are equations, transformations, angles, and as the students go through, they just get, it's a really cool, it's a digital word wall, right, of math facts that they can go home and practice. So I think this is really neat, right? I like this. I think it's a really cool example of how teachers can create study guides, word walls, their own textbooks. But I have to admit that as cool as that one is, I think this one's even better. All right. And so I love this one right here, transformational geometry. I don't even know what that means. I don't even really care. But I love this book. All right. Now, I know some of you might be sitting there thinking, I'm not a math teacher. I don't care about that either. You know why? Because you can do this for anything. I don't care what subject you teach. But in this book, there's goals, there's directions on how to use it. If the kids still don't understand how to use this book, there's a video on YouTube showing them how to use Book Creator. And as you go through this, there's definitions, there's examples, and here's where things start to get, I think, better than that other book. There's videos, again, showing you what that actually looks like. And eventually this book transforms from teacher do and teacher explanation to student do and student explanation. And so now it becomes an interactive workbook, right? So I saw some faces that were like, wow, right? This is cool. So this teacher created this to help their student. So why not? I think this is a really fantastic idea. And I think it can be much more powerful than just, some standard textbook that a kid gets, right? Not saying the textbooks are bad, but this might be a really cool way to add to it, to supplement, give the kids a little more deeper understanding. Now, a couple other things that I had mentioned in there specifically about the teacher thing. Study homework agendas. All right, I mentioned homework agendas. I mentioned feedback. So while I'm in Book Creator, I'm going to show you the feedback option. So if you haven't played with this yet, down at the bottom, once the students start doing their work, there's a little plus button. And when you click on that, the option to provide student feedback is there. All right, and so we can give feedback every day. We can give feedback every month, every couple weeks, however you want to fit that in. But I love this option because not only can you type in your feedback, you can also give videos, audio, emojis, Giphies, animated emojis, and stickers. So there's a lot of different ways you can give feedback. And the fact that there's audio and video allows you to give feedback to even younger kids, All right. So first graders, kindergarten kids who maybe can't read your typed feedback. Now we can give them other feedback. I have a school, the Tennessee Schools for the Deaf, that use this all the time to do American Sign Language inside the feedback option. All right. So there's so many choices here, but I absolutely love the feedback button. All right. Now I'm going to back out of my book here for a second so I can show you this one. Show of hands, quick show of hands, either like an emoji inside the chat window or like a little thumbs up wherever that's at in Zoom. Does anybody have students who just don't understand when things are due or when there's a test or any of that kind of stuff, right? I see one thumb up already. There we go. And while we were doing a thumbs up, and I see you crying emoji. All right, very good. So let me see here. Cameron's question: with the interactive workbook, if we assign the book to kids, would we be able to go back and add new pages each day? Ooh, hold on to that thought. All right, hold on to that thought. Cameron, well, I don't know who Cameron is, but Cameron is going to get the bonus points for some deep, good questions here tonight. So I like it. All right, now here we go. Are you ready? For those of you that put your thumb up or put a crying emoji, you know exactly where I'm coming from. All right. My kids, they'd come in on Friday. I'd say, hey, we've got a test. And the kids would say things like, I didn't know there was a test. And I'm like, what do you mean you didn't know there was a test? They were like, well, I was sick on Thursday. And I'm like, well, that's fine. I've been talking about the test since Monday, and it's been up on the board in these big red letters, right? Like it says test on Friday. So what's the excuse, right? Kids are good at excuses. So here's my favorite hack, all right, in Book Creator. And I'm gonna answer Cameron's question at the exact same time. Under New Book, there is a template. And the template is the notebook. All right, now I love the notebook template for all kinds of notebooky reasons. One being I'm old enough to remember what a Trapper Keeper is. And this reminds me of the Trapper Keeper. All right. And so I love it. Brings me back like all those feels, right, from elementary school. But when you click the plus button, you look at all these cool pages. There's one page specifically that I want you to look at, and that is the planner. All right. So there is a planner page right here in Book Creator. And I think it's pretty cool because, you know, your kids can go in, they can write down what's going on here on the book, and then they know what's going on for the week. But some of you might be like, that's cool, but it still doesn't answer that question, right? My kids didn't write it down, or my kids were sick, or whatever. So here's my alternate option. Don't put that into their hands. You do it. So when you're making your lesson plans, you know what's going to be coming up. You fill out this planner, all right, for the kids for the whole week. Then on Monday, the first time you do this, you say to the students, hey, everybody, I need you to go into Book Creator. I need you to click on this new book button, and I want you to choose a template that says notebook. That's what I want you to do. And the only thing I want you to do in that notebook is design the cover. That's it. Design the cover. Kids go in, they design the cover. Now, you're going to know a secret trick, all right, because I'm going to show you right now. As the kids are designing the cover, and here comes the answer to your question, Cameron. As the kids are designing the cover, I know that I've already filled in their weekly planner for the week. So what I'm going to do is at the top, I'm going to go to the Pages button. I'm going to go to the page that has the planner on it. I'm going to click the 3 dots, and I'm going to say copy to. I'm going to go to my library right here. I'm going to see all of the student covers, right, for their notebooks. And then I simply click on the cover or the book that I want, or the button at the top for all of the books. And then guess what? It's going to copy that page right into everybody's planner. So you do not have to rely on the kids writing down everything that goes on. You can push pages out to kids whenever you want. So in Cameron's question, the kids are doing this, right? They've got this workbook that I created, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to add one more page. Fine. Make your page, hit the 3 dots, and copy that page into everybody's books that they already started. Takes like 2 seconds. All right. So very, very cool, easy way to push things out to kids. All right. So again, teachers every day. All right. That was one. And then again, lots of really cool things like exit slips you can push those out to kids. They can have a book called Exit Slips, and each day or every couple days, you push one out to them. All right. Students every day. All right. I think we already talked about some things that might be good for students, like the planner. I think that's important for students. But what other ways can students use Book Creator every day? All right. Maybe they use it for the graphic organizers. A lot of times, and maybe you can raise your hand or put a thumbs up here, I'm sure that you do video projects with your kids, right? And so I think sometimes what teachers don't think of is like, oh, well, my kids are doing some video project. They still have to prepare. They still have to organize their thoughts. They still have to know what they're going to do in that video project. Could we do that in Book Creator? Absolutely. All right, because we have a ton of graphic organizers that might help for that. We have comic panels that might help for that. Can kids document their learning? Yes. Can kids start their own book and writing clubs? Absolutely. My own daughter is one of my favorite things. She comes home one day, she goes, can I have a Book Creator library? Because her teacher didn't use Book Creator. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I made her a library in my account. I said, here's the code, go join the library. She comes home from school the next day and she's like, can Avery join my library? And I was like, no, because she's not my student, right? I don't know who Avery is. I'm not just going to let random kids join my library. I said, but talk to your teacher. You know what happened? My daughter started like her own little writing club during free time. So she'd go sit in the corner with her Chromebook. Kids would start coming around saying, like, what are you doing? And she created her own little writing club. And so the teacher created a library and these kids had their own writing club during free time, which I thought was fantastic. Reflection journals, reading fluency practice, goal setting, right? These are all cool things that kids can do every day in Book Creator. All right, and here are some amazing examples of this. All right, here's a math notebook, right? Now, some of these are not filled in, but these are examples of things that teachers created for their students so that they could go in and use Book Creator to keep track of things every day. All right, and ancient history. You know, here's a master copy, chapter 3. So this would be like a teacher created study guide. And then, you know, what am I confused about? And so every day the kids go in there and they write in what's going on. And the teacher goes in and checks it and says, oh, I can see where my kids are. So kind of like an exit slip. All right. So, and again, these don't have to be overly complicated. I mean, this is like an emoji with some speech bubbles. Like that's it, right? There's nothing crazy about this. Here's one, IEP goals. Well, I'm sure we've got some special ed teachers in the house here tonight. Can I keep track of my students' IEP goals every day in Book Creator? Absolutely. Why not? And what's even better is you've got video and audio, so you can even document that and put it in there too, so that you actually have evidence of it. All right, here's another one. This is just a science, right? A plant journal. So, you know, what does the plant do on day 1 versus day 5 and so forth. So you can see there's just a lot of ways that students can actually use Book Creator. Now, I mentioned video projects, which I thought was pretty cool. So, you know, if the kids want to, they can just use graphic organizers, or in my case, my favorite, the comic panels. Oops, which this is not a comic book, so I don't have my comic panels down here, but you can use comic panels to do, you know, the storyboarding for the video. But we also have those graphic organizers that I mentioned. And so the graphic organizers are built right into Book Creator. There's 104 of them. And so whatever your kids are practicing or doing that day, I'm pretty sure we have a graphic organizer for it. And so they can put that straight in here. So maybe they're comparing and contrasting. You click on that graphic organizer, you add it right to the page, and now they have a graphic organizer that they can work with. All right. So again, just a load of ideas there for graphic organizers. All right, parents every day. All right, now I don't have a bunch of examples of this, but I want to share this anyway. I think this is a really cool idea. My kids, all right, my own children, the school district uses something that it's called Parent Square. And I don't know if you use that or if you have some kind of way to communicate with your parents or not. But my kids use Parent Square. And last year, my daughter's kindergarten teacher, she would send home amazing stuff, right? It's like, oh, here's what we did in class today with shaving cream and letters. And videos come home, photos come home. And I looked forward to it every day. Like, I was like, I cannot wait to see all of the amazing fun things that my daughter's doing in kindergarten class. Could you do that in Book Creator? And the answer is absolutely. And so what you could do is you could create a book called Today in Class. And guess what? Every day you can add to that book all of the fun things that you're doing. Now, obviously, you got to keep in mind like student privacy and things like that, right? You don't want to be sharing out things that little Johnny's doing if there's a like a police order that says you're not allowed to share this kid's information, right? Or whatever. So you got to be careful. But in my daughter's class, everything was fine. So we got stuff sent home all the time. So could you do this? Absolutely. So you make a book called Today in Class. All right. And then what you're going to do is you're going to click the share button and you're going to publish it. And you're going to make it private so the only people with the link can see it. And then you're going to publish it online. And now I have a link, all right, for that book. I copy that link and I send it home to parents and I say, hey, guess what? We're going to keep track of all the things that we're doing in school. We're going to show you. You're going to be excited. You're going to get to see your kids. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be videos. There's going to be photos. There might be audio buttons that the kids want to say things. We're going to do that. So you publish the book. You give the kids the parents the link and they see the book. And on the first day, it just simply has the cover that says Today in Class. Then the next day, they're going to go in because they're going to be so excited to see that there's something in that book. So they're going to go to that same link. And when you add things to the book, the link automatically updates with all of the new stuff. So you could document that process the whole way through the school year. And at the end of the year, the parents have a link with a book that they can see everything that their kids have done for the entire year. All right. I think that would be super cool. And I know that I loved when I got the information every day from, school telling me what the kids did. I love it. Yearbooks. Can you make yearbooks in Book Creator? Absolutely. Now I saw a hand pop up there. If there's somebody that has a question, yeah, go ahead and unmute yourself. I saw that hand pop up. Maybe it was a high five.
No, it was a question.
Yes.
Okay. So the link that the parents get at the end of the year, how long is that good for? Is this something that they can like download and print, or is this something they'll have forever? Like, how does this work?
Great question. So first off, I wouldn't give them the link at the end of the year. I would give them the link on day one. And on day one, they open up the book and there's literally one page, right? It's like maybe a class picture. It's like, here's our first grade class. How cool is that? Okay. Every day or every couple of days, you add to that book and they have the same link. So every time that you add to it, they get more information, right? And then at the end of the year, they have 180 days worth of stuff that their kids and their friends and all of the kids in the class have done. All right. So that's first. I want to go back. I would do it every day and I would just have one link and the kids get to see the book. Now, the second part of the question, how long does that last? And the answer is it lasts until you stop publishing the book. Okay. So if I'm in my library, we'll use this personal example library here as the example. Year goes by, everything's done. Kids move on to the first, second grade, and I'm ready to move on to a new class. I can click the three buttons, the three dots here, and archive that library. All right. Put the library aside. I don't have to see it, but that link is still active. All right. That link will remain active until you stop publishing the book. All right. So it's going to be there for a long time. Oh, Jennifer, great question. Are graphic organizers and other materials available in Spanish and other languages? Right now, they are not. Okay. So in our system, when you click the plus button, more and graphic organizers, they are all in English. However, you can change those at any point. Okay. So if you wanted to redo it in a different language, you can certainly do that. All right. So if I go to a page here, my internet wants to fight with me here for a second. So if I go to the page where I added the graphic organizer, you can go through and change this. So if you wanted to, you could rewrite this in a different language. All right. Or you can even use the speech to text in 120 different languages. So you choose your language, you click the microphone, put it in Spanish. All right. So we don't have them in other languages. To be truthful, I think there's like 2 people in our company who speak something other than English. So we don't have the capacity to be building books in every language that there's possible. But we have teachers who are doing that. So I know it's kind of it's a bit of a bummer that we don't, but I think it's easy enough to kind of fix, all right, on your own. All right. Now, the last
AI can help with that too, John.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, there we go. Now, I know it, like, again, it sounds like a little bit of a daunting task, but I will have to tell you that I do work with a school district that has 127 home languages spoken in their district, which seems like a lot to me. And the district has created their own books in multiple languages so that every time a parent comes into the district, they can give them a link to a book in their language that they can read and learn all about the district. All right, so it is possible. All right, if Kathleen's willing to help, it's even better. All right, so a Today in Class book. We do have a yearbook template, which I think is really cool. So you can use that. And then this one I think is even better. It's one of my favorites, and this is specialty books. All right, so are there options for specialty books in Book Creator? And the answer is yes, absolutely. And so it's not necessarily that we have specialty books, but specialty ideas where kids are making books for Grandparents' Day. Happy Grandparents' Day. And so the teacher created a thing. You know, one of my favorite things I love about my grandparents, one of my favorite things to do with my grandparents, how quickly will your grandparents or mothers or fathers for Happy Father's Day and Mother's Day, how quickly will your parents and grandparents need boxes of tissues when they get something like this sent home? Right, that says, "Oh, Happy Mother's Day, Mom, and here's the cool things that I want to talk about." I think this is really cool. Ooh, 150 languages. Awesome. That's a lot too. All right. So anyway, I absolutely love the different ideas here in how we can use Book Creator. So what I want to do now is I want to see if there are other ideas. All right. So I'm going to go back to our page here. So in the chat window, or if you want to unmute yourself and come on camera, what other ways do you think, after watching this, do you think you might be able to use Book Creator? School every day, teachers every day, students every day, parents every day. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Again, either in the chat window, or if you want to unmute yourself and come on camera. I'm going to actually stop my screen so I can see more faces. All right. Oh, there's Cameron. Yeah, Cameron, you had some good questions there. All right. What other questions or thoughts? Is anybody excited about some of these ideas? Anybody? All right, 3 of you. The rest of you just want me to leave? Is that right? A couple of, that's all right. No. All right. Thoughts, questions, aha moments, ideas. Taylor, we use Canva almost every day in my classroom, and I think that this would work so well. I see that we have a PD in January that I'm looking forward to. Yes, so we have a Canva PD with Book Creator, all right, which is going to be really cool because Book Creator and Canva, again, I'm old enough to remember Captain Power. I don't know if anybody remembers watching Captain Planet. I remember Captain Planet, and I love the fact that it was like, with our powers combined, right? And Book Creator's awesome. Canva's awesome. You put them together, you got something even better. So really cool. So excited to have that one too. All right, I see some hands up there, so just unmute yourself and pop on in here. All right, anybody, any ideas, thoughts?
Don't be shy at 5:45 on
That's
Friday
right.
Eve.
Michael says uses it for students to organize their source analysis when doing argument writing. Yes, absolutely. You know what I like with argument writing too? Comics. Put the speech bubbles in there and get the kids arguing back and forth between the 2 characters. I think that's pretty cool. What other ideas? Ooh, that might be the youngest webinar participant ever. Taylor. All right.
Probably 6 weeks, 6.
Did you say 6 weeks?
Yes.
No, all right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
My students are running the literary journal. I let them use it and learn to curate and organize resources. Yes, absolutely. We've got lots of schools that are using it for the school newspaper. Tech departments using it for newsletters. So yeah, lots of ideas there. Cameron's currently using Book Creator for students to create their narratives for their end of unit assessment. Absolutely. Foreign language teachers. I've got a teacher that uses it for her final exam in Spanish class. She used to have to sit down with each kid and listen to them speak as she'd give them a prompt, talk to them, let them reply back. Took weeks, right, to go through all of the students and listen to them. She made a book in Book Creator with herself on video, asking the prompts. Kids had to go into Book Creator, respond back to her prompts on their own video. And she went from spending weeks doing that to a few days. All right. Any other ideas? I think so. If you don't have an idea, what was your favorite idea that you heard tonight?
My favorite idea was using it as a planner to copy everything that I want them to know for the week. Because as a classroom teacher, we all know how challenging it is, and kids write at various speeds. So if I can alleviate that alleviates stress for them and me.
Absolutely. And it will alleviate stress of parents as well. So before this whole thing started, we were talking about homework. And my house is dominated by homework from 5 o'clock at night to about 9:30 at night, every night. All three of my children, crazy amounts of homework. And I remember my wife and I saying to my son yesterday, he was like, "Oh, I have a math test on Friday." And I'm like, "What? You didn't tell us that. Like, we could have been studying all week. We could have been working on this together, helping you out." And he goes, "Oh, well, I just found out tonight." And we're like, "Well, what are we doing next week?" And he's like, "I don't know. Our teachers don't tell us until Monday." Right? Like, so as parents, we're kind of in the dark, right? So if you were to do this and set the stage, then your kids would know what's going on, but so would your parents, right? So that they could help. So that would be really cool. I love what we did in class today. Yeah, they would love that. Would be awesome. And yeah, especially when the kids go home and the parents are like, "What'd you do at school today?" And the kids are like, "Nothing." Right? It's like, yeah, you did, right? So now we can show parents what we did. Graphic organizers are awesome. Ooh, how do I mark my attendance? Yeah, that would be a great one, right? How do you mark attendance? Oh no, I was thinking that was an idea. But that could be an idea, right? The kids mark their attendance. They can keep track of attendance and set goals. That would be awesome. But marking your attendance tonight at the end of the session, there's going to be a link to an evaluation. You're going to put that in there, and I'm going to have the attendance list. So I'm going to email that off here at the end of the evening. Planner part, yes. Students will assume a character that has a role in the caravan, right, during the Silk Road. Yeah, I like it. Class yearbook. Yeah, maps, right? Mind maps, absolutely. I want them to make the covers of their notebooks their faces. Yeah, absolutely. It makes it a lot easier for you, right? When you go through, just like, oh, there's John. Oh, there's
Can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a ESL teacher, and one of the things that I do with my ESL students is try to use technology a lot, especially Google Image. When you're talking about building like a vocabulary, I work a lot of vocabulary with them, and typically we try to use Google Image to go there and try to find something that would represent the word that they're learning in the classroom.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things that we've been doing a lot. Another thing that I try to use, especially with the middle school, is graffiti to express. It's a form of it can be in a book, but it's a form of, they express their feelings about the text that they are reading in a form of graffiti. So they demonstrate their feelings with the design that they can make, the words that they use, different things. And that shows how they understood the text that they're reading and show their feelings.
Absolutely. And I love that. And I'm not sure how much you've used Book Creator before or not, but we've got an image search built right in. We've got an auto draw pen. We've got videos and audio. If your kids are really ready to step up their design, we've got that integration with Canva. So there are so many options in Book Creator that I think are really going to help your kids out with that. But I think that's a great idea. I love it.
Also for create, different artifact for the backpack defense and fifth grade. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, fantastic. I love that. Anything that in my mind, again, as a special ed teacher, anything that my kids can do to prove that they understand what I'm talking about, I'm okay with, right? Because a lot of times for my special ed students, the typical way that they proved that they learned something was either through a test or some kind of writing assignment or something like that. And a lot of times that wasn't good enough for my kids, right? They couldn't write it, or they couldn't get their thoughts out of their head and onto the paper. So with Book Creator, video, audio, emojis, writing, speech to text, anything that they can tell me that they understand that material, I'm good with. So I love that idea of putting it in their backpack. All right. Well, Kathleen, do we have the link to the evaluation? I might have it somewhere.
They will find that in Vector, our PD platform. So most should be familiar with how to do that. So it's open now, so they can take these last few minutes and make sure to fill that out for us. I will let you all know that our professional learning department looks at every single one of those. So when you put NA on there, they remember your name. You can ask my colleague about that. He used to always put NA. So they remember that. So they really do read those and value your opinion. So yeah, those are in Vector. Complete the feedback. You will not receive PD credit right away. We still have to, my secretary is off right now at 6 o'clock tonight, but she'll get the report from John and we'll get those added. And as soon as that's completed, you'll have your PD. So
All
thanks for
right.
being here tonight. I'm excited to see all of you all the week before Thanksgiving. It's great. I hope you got something out of this tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I thought somebody was going to say something, but anyway, I'll stick around if there's a couple more questions. If not, be safe out there. Happy bookmaking, and yes, have a great Thanksgiving break. And eat lots of turkey or whatever you decide to eat on Thanksgiving. So thanks, everybody.
I have a
Thank
question.
you so much.
Yeah.
So where can we find, I know it said that this video was being recorded. Where can we find that recording?
Good question. So once we're all done, I'm going to let it process. I'll probably get that out to Kathleen tomorrow morning at some point,
Yeah.
along with the attendance list. And once Kathleen gets it, she's going to put it in the...
Boom. So it'll be on our PD slide that we show, but you can also find all the recordings that we have from our vendor partners like John on our digital learning channel. And so I'm putting that shortened URL in the chat right now. So it'll be on our YouTube channel as well as in that slide deck. So I try to add all those resources there for every single one we do.
Perfect. Right. All right. Well, thank you, Kathleen. Is the next one we have January? Is that right?
Yeah,
The Canva one?
I think so, in January. All summer, that makes me so happy. I'm so glad to hear that. John,
I
it's
do
her
too. I'm
favorite PD
I'm
this year. How
screenshotting
about
that
that?
one.
Yes. That's a keeper. Yeah, we'll see you.
I think there's
believe I
one on, I'm sorry. I think there's
You're okay.
a training, a PD on December 6th, right?
Let me look. I'm looking in Vector right now.
Yes, I think you have a December 6th too.
December 6th is Canva. So capture student learning with Canva for education.
Okay.
Yeah. So I get Canva and Creator confused, but no, Book Creator will be back with Canva on January something. One book,
Awesome.
1 hour. Yeah. It'll be back in
Yay.
January.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be-
January
We look
16th.
forward.
Yeah, January 16th, and then John will be back February 22nd with one book, 1 hour. Yep.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. Oh, 1 book, 1 hour. I love 1 book, 1 hour. All right. I saw
Thank
Cameron's
you.
eyes. She was like, "Ooh, wait, what's that?" So I'll give you
You're
a little
welcome.
sneak peek. All right. So one
have a
book, 1
question.
hour. We are all gonna write and compile a book and publish it together in 1 hour. We're all gonna become published authors. It's fast paced, super energetic, lots of fun, and way, way stressful. All right. Did I say stressful? I meant fun and stressful. You're gonna love it. All right. I think I saw another
So-
question.
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, you have to go to Vector to sign in, is that right?
I'm sorry, to do what?
Mark the attendance, you have to go to Vector.
Yeah, yes. And if you're not registered for this course or whatever, when my secretary gets this attendance, she'll register you. And then yes, you go to Vector to complete the feedback.
Just the feedback. I'm
Correct.
already registered, I did. Okay, that's what I want to know. Okay, thank
Yep. And if you have any problems, Dr. Cesar, you email me and I'll help you out.
you. Okay, thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Bye.
All right. Well, have a great night, everybody. Thanks, Kathleen. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, John. I'm so excited. Such a great
All right, me
turnout. Have
too.
a good night. Go
All right.
have fun doing homework. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, first, now I got to pick my son up from basketball first. So that's the other part.
Of course.
The other
Of course.
thing
I
to
know.
do, so.
I got to do the same thing. We got to get him for cheer and then
Yeah.
we'll come home and start the process. I get it.
Have a good night.
All right. Have
All right.
one. Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.